Top 5 things you probably didn't know about Pennsylvania. As we continue our tour across the United States, now at 12% done, we've seen some fun facts about states across the board. The first 4, Utah, Washington, California, and Georgia, 3 of which hosted the Olympics, and the 4th having a state capital called Olympia, had that little obscure connection in common. Then we saw some interesting things about South Dakota, even though I admit I kind of made fun of it. But now we turn to a state that has a great deal to do with the foundation of the country, and something that is pretty unique. So what can we learn about this state that gives us a unique place? What sort of interesting facts about one of the original 13 colonies can we uncover? What can really be so captivating about this place that's given us so much? So grab a glass of strawberry milk, sit back, relax, and let's get started. This segment may be a bit longer than the others given the things that happened there across the timeline. Originally, the area of the state was home to several tribes of Native Americans, but the introduction of European colonists from Sweden and Holland also introduced diseases they had not met before. So they were wiped out and moved on. It was in 1681 when William Penn was given the grant to start the colony he named for his family and another word for woods, namely Sylvania. The colony was meant to be a place of religious tolerance, meaning that anybody of any religion could settle there. It was a home of the Quaker faith for a long time as the state began to push out. Many of the areas were in contention with the French settlers during the French and Indian War until it gained the many forts the French had settled in. And then the colonists had enough, and the country later called the United States was born. I'm sure you know the date in the document that officially began the war to tell the British they weren't going to take their garbage anymore. And it was in that city, named for the Greek word for brotherly love, Philadelphia, that it really began. Several battles of the Revolutionary War took place as one prominent rebel, namely General George Washington, was based there. He went out with his troops many times and even stayed with them in a little place called Valley Forge, an appropriate name for a place that steeled the rebel armies for their desired freedom. So of course he won the war, with the Articles of Confederation as the first document to give the newborn nation. It was clear they weren't going to work out early on, and it was, once again, in Philadelphia that the Constitution was drafted, officially marking the new country's federal government and distributing powers through the states to individuals. I could do a whole video on the Constitution alone, and I probably will. It was less than a century later, in a little place called Gettysburg, that another war was resolved, with many on both sides fighting each other and many dying. The town has gained a reputation not only as the home of the bloodiest battle in American history, as finally the issue of slavery resulted in the Emancipation Proclamation and the end of that dark period, namely Gettysburg. It did have some involvement in some particular industries as well, and was settled for those periods. Perhaps the least known feature of Pennsylvania is a few formations where the rocks in these areas, if struck by a hammer or another hard object, actually ring like a bell. The 3 areas where the rocks have been found often get people who are interested in the mystery, especially when science actually has yet to find a suitable explanation. The rocks are in fact huge boulders. Scientists discovered many interesting facts about the tone the rocks gave off, namely the fact that they produce infrasound in several areas and combined together to lift the sound into human hearing range. The actual geology of the rocks indicate that they began as sedimentary until introduction to magma injected areas of crystal that weren't taken or buried by the glacial ice that carved much of the hills in the area. In fact, if I get this right, I believe I can let you hear what these rocks actually sound like. If not, the link will be in the description. If you have a sweet tooth of any kind, you probably know why I put this one here. The home of many of the world's most popular chocolate confections comes straight from the town of Hershey, Pennsylvania, a crackling place. And here we go again. Started in 1894 with just a kiss of an idea, Milton S. Hershey began the company that grew into what it is now. First learning of confectionaries and caramel, Hershey moved on to chocolate when he sold his caramel shop for what would be, in today's money, about $28 million. The town he moved to, Dairy Church, began to be a place where the company would house workers. I think we know what name they changed to later. One of the original ideas, one that we still enjoy today, was basically an oversized chocolate chip, but it gained it another name because it was, you guessed it, just a kiss of chocolate. Another idea that came up was actually not a Hershey's product, although originally it did use Hershey's chocolate. These were the two founders of a competitor, a couple of guys named Mars and Muddle, had a hard candy shell around the chocolate and became known as, you guessed it, M&Ms. It is a running joke now about how they have to apply intelligence tests since some supposedly threw away all the candies with a W on them. Anyway, the science behind why we like chocolate so much is pretty self-explanatory. I encourage you to go out and learn it for yourself, but there is another side that really became known only recently. For many years, it was thought that chocolate contributed to acne and it was actually very unhealthy. It was made known only recently that chocolate didn't have anything to do with acne, but it was also learned that the candy was also very strong in antioxidants, with dark chocolate being the strongest. And it also meant they could include other products from the state into the original formula, namely the state drink, milk. With a wide range of history that took place in Pennsylvania, it would be difficult to choose which historical site I could put on as, quote, probably didn't know, quote, list. There are the structures and hallways that led to the American freedom. There's one bell with a huge crack on it that could make its way in here, and of course, there's the Ghost of Gettysburg. All of those are already pretty well known as tourist spots, but the one most people probably don't know, unless they're fans of paranormal shows, is Keystone State Penitentiary. The idea behind the creation of the penitentiary system was first brought up here, with the idea that it wasn't punishment that could best test out the criminal incarceration, but the direction of reform, of making the criminal better, of making the person penitent. The idea seemed sound, but the execution really wasn't what they wanted. It was put a prisoner in an isolated cell with only one window high up to provide light, and would eventually get the person to turn to God. Only one problem with that: a lack of human contact and a darker light actually drove people insane. By 1913, due to the mass insanity of the population, was the fact that there were way too many prisoners to keep building more wings for, the solitary confinement solution was abandoned. While the prisoners continued to be encouraged to do something meaningful and fulfilling, they had to by sheer necessity end the confinement era. Perhaps the best known guest of Keystone State was Mr. Al Capone, the notorious gangster. He had a lot of amenities in his cell, but the other issue with the prison, and the one that actually began the interest in the paranormal aspects of it, was mainly the claim that Capone was tormented by the ghost of someone he'd ordered killed. The doors finally closed in 1971, and the prison was registered as a historic landmark. While it was listed as a historic ruin for many years, meaning it was left to rot, recent efforts to restore the entire structure began, and it was turned into a museum. And then the paranormal enthusiasts began to come, hearing mainly about Capone's claim. Other unexplained happenings meant the prison became known more and more as a paranormal hotspot. Although there were many recordings of supposedly paranormal phenomena, there were also many detractors of the evidence that was captured, many calls of it being nothing but an inexplainable possibility or a fraud. So which individual did I think had enough of a historical impact that came from William Penn State? What name associated with Pennsylvania could really be a solid foundation? What person can we see as a notable individual? If you got the C-note mentioned, you already figured this one out. If you didn't, then this may be quite shocking. Born in Boston in 1706, he later moved to Pennsylvania early on, and as he was a curious youth, he had already learned a great deal about the coming sciences. Ben, youngest of his family, was often mistreated, but his curiosity outgrew his troubles, and he began to learn about the prospects of lightning. He had seen many buildings burned down with a lightning strike, so he began to scientifically study lightning with the theory that it was actually a form of static electricity, which proved to be true with the infamous kite and key experiment. With that proven, he went on to find that anchoring a metal rod at the highest point of a building and running copper into the ground from that would make this lightning totally miss a building and end up not causing any damage at all. This invention, the lightning rod, is still in use this day. Two of his other inventions came from necessity as well. The first was when he realized that if he moved the fire from the old idea of putting it off to the side into a metal container in the middle of the room with a pipe leading to from the top to the chimney, he would be a lot warmer than it had been before. So the idea became known as the Franklin stove. The other came from the fact that he'd actually broken two of his pairs of glasses, namely the outside pair and the reading pair. He fused the broken fragments together and, after a little adjustment, had created the first 2-in-1 focus lenses called bifocals. But he was more than just a prolific inventor. He ran his own paper in Philadelphia called the Poor Richard's Almanac, filled with advice and proverbs. It later became the Gazette as actual reporting took place. He was selected when the Revolutionary War was being fought to go and try to get a treaty with France. The fact that his mannerisms towards women was something dramatically different and made him a favorite for them. Namely, he listened and paid attention and didn't treat them like art candy. There's some reports of disreputable behavior, and you can look these up if you want. Perhaps the best known point of history that took place with the two documents that really shaped the country. He was on the committee for the drafting of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So respected was he that many still turned to him for advice and counsel. Is it any wonder this well-respected person became the face of the most valuable cash available in the United States? I'd really appreciate a like and a comment for this video, and of course, click on the circular hat icon to subscribe. It really does mean a lot that you're here watching this video, and I'd really appreciate it if you do also check out the links in the description. It means a great deal, more than you can know. But now, with this month nearly gone, we turn toward a holiday filled with romance and reduction, a holiday that can be both uplifting and deflating, and we'll get back to the USA's afterwards, as well as a surprising new reading. I didn't get to the petroleum or steel.